And Mike won't be here, so you are good to go whenever
Okay.
you're ready.
All right. I'll call the meeting to order. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Shaw,
Here.
Commissioner Wire,
Here.
Commissioner Phil,
Here.
Mayor Denner.
Here. We have the agenda in front of us. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Is there any comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Commissioner Phil,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. We'll move into appearances and acknowledgement. Item number 1. Chad, do you want to bring us up to speed on acknowledge Eastern Dakota Water Development District 30% project assistance, Northwest Sanitary Sewer Service Area Study and Preliminary Design?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor, members of the commission and those here. Included in the agenda packet is a letter dated February 10. I did attend the November 19th of 2020 meeting with Eastern Dakota Water Development District to ask for some funding assistance for what I'll refer to as the Northeast Area Sanitary Sewer Study. That was approved by the commission prior to that date. I submitted a letter with such a request before the meeting for their agenda, and I'm happy to report that they did include 30% assistance for this project. And it's just an acknowledgement that they're providing that. When the invoices start coming in, we just have to get back with them and submit those to Eastern Dakota, and they'll reimburse us for that portion. That's all I have to say for that one. And I stand by for questions.
Okay. Do I have a motion to acknowledge Eastern Dakota Water Development District 30% project assistance, Northwest Sanitary Sewer Service Area Study and Preliminary Design?
So moved. Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call vote?
Commissioner Phil,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Item number 2, Chad, Banner Associates update on the Northwest Sanitary Sewer Service Area Study and Preliminary Design.
Yes, thank you. Banner Associates, a gentleman, I believe Dennis Rebline, is on via Zoom here to participate in this. There's no handout to provide. However, I will report that there has been some preliminary findings accomplished from the report that have factored into some of the adjacent design for the rural development project. And there's also been some positive feedback initially from Banner on being able to serve some of that area to the west of Highway 81. And so I had hoped to have the report, or at least an executive summary of some sort, ready for you, but that'll be coming in the upcoming months. And with that, without stepping on anything that Dennis may want to add or say better, I'll invite Dennis Rebline to say a few words about this.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So as Chad had mentioned, the report, or the study of the report, the study and calculations have been completed. So we have the initial findings on pipe size going across Highway 81 and what can be done to serve that immediate need area that was identified, along with what type of improvements need to be made in the existing collection system up to a point, and that was highlighted in the study area. And the findings have been used, as Chad indicated, to update pipe size in the rural development project. So there are 2 blocks of sewer that are in the project that have been upsized as a result of the report to 12-inch. And one block is between 8th Street and 7th Street, on Olive, and that is in the plans, in the project that's gonna be bidding this week. The other block is on 7th Street from Olive to West. That pipe size is being upsized to 12-inch to handle the additional growth anticipated west of 81. Now, Chad, if I may add, we had talked, there's an additional block that we had talked about on West from 7th to 6th that we've talked about trying to accomplish within the next year or two. Is that correct?
Yes, and that's a good point to bring out. We've included, so to back up a bit, we have to upgrade one of our streets to tie into our rural development project. I'll just leave it at that. And so that project has been budgeted for and included in the IIP to be done next year, early in the year, because it's a prerequisite to some of the rural development work. I'll just put it that way. And so, indeed, as Dennis had mentioned, we'll have to commission a project for 2022 and have that done early. I'm optimistic that perhaps with coordination with our attorney Jenks and such, that we can, and the cost, anticipated cost of such project, we can approach our the RD contractor to try to have them do that work, and then there'll be a more seamless, if you will, coordination effort between the two adjacent projects. But stepping a little bit ahead of looking down the road to a couple next steps here, of course, we've coordinated this with Mr. Lawrence and such, so they're all well aware of the plan. It's been including in our plan, the infrastructure improvement plan, so we're ready for that. Thanks, Dennis.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Chad, the upgrade to 12-inch that Dennis had said, 7th to 8th on Olive and 7th to 6th on West, is that part of the RD?
The 7th to 6th on West is not. That's that extra project that I was just referring to. The 12-inch from 7th going north towards 8th, it doesn't go all the, I don't believe it gets all the way to 8th. I believe that's a 12-inch as well, but that is part of the RD project. There also may be a 12-inch on 7th. Dennis, you have to correct me. I don't know how much in the weeds you want to get into, but the 12-inch.
You are correct.
Yeah. On 7th, going east and west from West Avenue to Olive Avenue, I believe it is. Is that a 12-inch as well?
Yes, it is.
Yes. So that is part of the RD project, and then on Olive going north is part of the RD project as well.
So both of them are RD. So
Two of the three.
2 of the 3.
Yep. And the reason for the third is at 6th and West, we need to go back that far to get adequate grade for the 12-inch to have enough depth as we head north and west to get up to 81. So we needed to redo a total of 3 blocks with 12-inch pipe. 2 of them are part of the RD project, 1 is not. And as Chad had indicated, that 1 block on West from 6th to 7th that is not part of RD has to occur and be installed before the last 2 blocks. So that has been taken into account in the RD project. That coordination, I should say.
When do you participate that this is going to develop out there?
I don't know. There's been new ownership out there. The current owner has talked to us, as well as Mr. Fosheim. He even asked me about the status of the study this week, or excuse me, last week, and I reported that this was going to be on the agenda. So it depends on the developer's plans. I will also report that I've had some meetings with the DOT for some preliminary scoping, so they have confirmed that they're planning to redo Highway 81, maybe in about the 2027 timeframe. So we should be able to get these other things in order and ready to go before 2027. The portion west of Highway 81, there will be some limited development possibilities until we can get sanitary sewer there, which may have to wait until 2027.
Are these okay with just, we're basically just gonna, because they were planning on putting a 10-inch in on the RD project, is that correct? And
We based it on our design in coordination with Banner, and that's what it's based off of, and those plans have been submitted to RD, and they have approved the plans.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're good to go on that.
Yep.
It's just that third site that
Yep.
we gotta pay
That's a
for.
standalone city project,
Okay.
correct, yes, sir.
Well, I'm not against this, but I just don't want to sit there and tie up a bunch of money when it's not going to happen until 2027 or later. Here we are, we're tying up money in 6th and 7th and 8th when we could be putting it somewhere else in the future for a year or two. I realize that they got ideas and plans for that land out there, but
I'm not exactly sure your question, but the RD project has been scoped out years in advance, and that includes everything except the one block stretch from 6th to 7th. So I'm not sure what money we're tying up, but that RD project's already been in the budget and planned for years.
The other thing too that we're addressing, Chad, would be those homes north of 7th between Olive and Catherine. There were some depth issues there, if I remember right, Chad,
Yep, there are two homes that have their sanitary sewer services actually going out into their rear yard into, I guess I'll go out on a limb and call it an inadequate system, a barrel. And then it goes, again, through their rear yards and towards West Avenue, as I recall. So this new sanitary sewer would be deep enough, and it would provide for those folks to have an opportunity to connect on into the front with an orthodox sanitary sewer system. And it would be, of course, they would have to redo some plumbing in their house to do so, but that's also a benefit of what this will be taken care of as well.
so then there will be no new streets being dug up right now.
There's an RD project that is being bid on Tuesday or Thursday. There's been a project planned from 6th to 7th that is planned for next year. That if it is not done, there's no place for the sewerage to go to. So we've been trying to think of this for years out, and we just have to make this one connection next year to allow that project to function properly. If we don't do it now, we're never going to serve the area to the west of 81. So we can, I'll just say that.
And the plans is to pick up that city, the third one, with RD next year.
We'll do that, a standalone city project.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So it won't be with the R&D.
That is correct.
Okay. I see Mr. Jinks on. Being this is an update, Mr. Jinks, do we need a motion on it?
Not.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions for either Banner or for Chad? Okay. Item number 3, U.S. Corps of Engineer update, Section 22, Planning Assistant to State Program, PAS, Floodplain Alternative Study.
Thank you. There was a lady from the Corps of Engineers, Rachel Williams, going to join for this as well to give an update, but I'll give a little bit of a brief introduction first. I don't see her name on there unless she's one of those other letters. But the city had been planning to update the flood study from 1995, which among other things, 2 detention dams were planned to mitigate some of the flooding through town. We were in the planning processes for doing that when the flood hit, actually. And then so it was included in the budget. That project was commissioned in late 2019, and I've had asked this to be on the agenda as a bit of an update. I'd hoped that we'd be done by now, but sometimes it takes a little longer. The Corps reprioritizes. They have to work here or there on other projects. They are very close to having a presentation available and also a final report available for the project, but we just didn't quite make it before today. But I did want to have a little bit to say today about that. So I don't know if Rachel Williams is on. I don't know how you tell if she wants to speak, if everybody's muted, or I don't know who EH is or CC.
They can unmute themselves.
Oh, they
if
can,
wanna
okay.
talk, so.
She may not be on. So I'll give a brief update regarding that. Basically, most of the work has been done, hydraulics and hydrology updates for this. And it is some favorable results so far. And by the Corps standards, I'll say, and that the cost-benefit ratio is positive, so that this project could proceed to receiving Corps funding. There's another program that would have to be applied for that. It's referred to as a Section 205. This will all be detailed, provided in great detail at the next meeting when they are present to go over that. But just a very brief update today to say that there's very good positive findings. There would be some significant cost, as you could imagine, for building these large detention dams north of town, should the city want to proceed with that. But they'll lay that out in more detail, and about potential options for Corps studies when they provide that presentation update. So with that, I'll just stand by for questions. I don't have a lot of detail now. Again, I had hoped to have them be ready for this. They're not. But I just wanted to at least introduce this to you, and so you know what to expect upcoming.
Okay. Any questions for Chad? Okay. Thank you, Chad. We'll move down into the consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Commissioner Phil,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Moving down into unfinished business. Item 1, authorize the mayor to sign professional service agreement, Houston Engineer, Inc., design of 9th Street from Park Creek to Highland Avenue and Union Avenue north of 9th Street. This was tabled for 2 weeks. I put it back on a week earlier to see if we could move forward with it. Everything that was discussed last meeting stayed the same, other than I did reach out to David from Houston Engineer, and he is on the line if he wants to make any comments. I reached out to him to see if we move forward with this, if there was any way we could get Union redesigned with the scope of the work that the commission wants to do with it, and do that yet this year before 9th Street is done next year. And his opinion is, being we're going to do a whole reconstruct of Union instead of just putting in infrastructure. His opinion was, no, we would have to get 9th Street done first and then tie Union into it. Did I miss anything, David?
Mayor, this is David. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. No, everything you said is correct. Just to reiterate, if we're going to reset and approve Union, we need to play around with the elevations of those curb and gutters. And so since that's on the storm sewer world upstream from 9th Street, we always have to work from downstream upstream. So we can reset the grade slightly on 9th, and then that will allow us to reset the grade on Union, because Union drains to 9th, if that makes sense.
Okay. Is there any comments for David from the commission? Thank you, David. Is there any other comments or discussion? Yep, come on up.
So my concern is, I'm Mike Johnson, you guys all know that. I'm here about every other week. So I'm glad you have your masks on so you aren't laughing. But so what we're going to do now is put Union on another year on hold? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes. With the scope of the work, that's what the engineer decided to do.
Why all of a sudden do we have to put it on hold for a year when we were going to go ahead with the poor design we had a couple weeks ago, and that was okay? I know it was a poor design, but now I don't understand this. Why 9th has to be done before? I mean, that's why we have elevation grids, and I don't understand. I need somebody to explain this to me.
David, can you help us out on that one?
Yes, like I said, since Union drains onto 9th, we'll want to adjust 9th first to get some more latitude and freedom to make better and more grade line on Union, because like I said, Union drains onto 9th, and then 9th drains east into Park Creek, so you have to kind of work from downstream, upstream on storm sewer projects. If we want to improve Union drainage, then that's my opinion, that's the way to go. Let's do them all together at the same time, which will mean, yes, next year the design will be this year, construction will be next year. So unfortunately for you, yes, if you wanted Union done this year, if we're going to tie them two together to make it work together, then that has to be done next year. I know that's maybe not what you want to hear, and you've been putting up with some issues there, but if we're going to do a reconstruct, then I'd like to solve the problem and solve it by draining Union onto 9th to the creek and proceeding that way. If that makes sense.
Well, my question to you is, we don't have storm sewer there now. Where the intersection of Union and Northwest 9th meet, to the north end of North Union, I haven't shot the grade on it, but just looking at it, there's got to be 7 to 8 foot of fall. I mean, we're not talking nip and tuck.
Right, and we are putting storm sewer on 9th, which will allow us to lower 9th, and we're not talking, feet, we've got existing homes and driveways and stuff there, but it will allow us, by putting in storm sewer, to change the elevations of the curbs on 9th Street, so we can get those slightly lower to help us drain Union to 9th Street. And so that's what I keep saying, since we're going from downstream upstream, it makes sense to do Union with 9th Street as a part of that project next year, so we can make sure we get it all drained out properly and not handcuff ourselves by working from upstream downstream.
But we're not putting in storm sewer on Union Avenue. Am I understanding this right?
Correct. We are just putting inlets around the corners there at that intersection, but we're not running up to the north end of Union with storm sewer. No, that is not in the plans. But I keep going back to it, maybe I'm not explaining myself clearly, that we can change the elevations of the curb and gutters there, which gives us more opportunities and more latitude to adjust Union to make it drain out as well, too.
Well, the only way we can adjust Northwest 9th and Union is to lower the intersection. You can't raise the intersection. And from that intersection going north, like I said, there's 8 to 10 feet of difference in elevation. It goes uphill to the north. So I don't see why we're putting this project for next year. I mean, we're not putting in storm sewers. We're putting in curb and gutter.
Right. And I've had it happen before where we change curb and gutter and then all of a sudden you have a pond for a year there at the intersection until you get the next street done. So I guess, it's not, solving your problem right away, but I know the city's committed to solving the problem there. And that's why this project's going forward, and we'll take care of that problem all as a part of 9th Street all in one shot here next year.
I don't know. My opinion is we're putting this off another year, so we're up to, 36, 37 years now.
One of the things that may help, right now we're seeing a spike in construction prices for a lot of things. And I know, again, it's not what you want to hear, but maybe hope now for the year might be getting better prices, and as well as tying it to a bigger project in 9th Street, you get more economies of scale with a larger project. So maybe next year, I guess nobody can guarantee what prices are going to be next year, but we're seeing a spike in construction commodity prices this year. So if we delay it 1 year, maybe that'll help. Certainly when we tie it to 9th Street, a bigger project gets you more economies of scale. So again, I just offer that out there as another piece of information that may be beneficial to do it 1 year later.
Well, then my question to the commission, what are we gonna do about the street? I mean, it's terrible. You've got spots that, like I said, I got more asphalt, or I had more asphalt on my yard than I had on the street. I mean, this street is unacceptable. I know you're working at it, but this is ridiculous.
Well, and I've always said that we want to make sure that we do things right when we fix
Right.
things, and we want it done right. I know it's been 37 years, and I'm with you on that, Mike. And I don't know, Gary, is there things that we can go up and take a look at that road and at least get some patchwork done on it till we get to the point where we got to tear it up next year? I know, Mike, and I don't want to, I've said all along I didn't want to push this project off a year, but at this point, I guess if that's what it takes to get it done right, I would rather us do it the right way too.
So then my next question is, why did we spend all this time with the previous design? I mean, somebody should answer that question. We knew this problem existed for years and years, and now we're saying the original design stinks.
I didn't come out and say the original.
No, I'm saying it.
That's not what I said.
No, I'm saying it.
I want to make sure that if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. I know that there was questions about curb, gutter, et cetera, and I think that's what we're going to get out of it in the end.
All right, thanks.
How many catch basins are you gonna have at 9th and Union?
There'll be at least a couple just around the corner on north on Union, and then a couple could be on either side. Typically, you're going to see in that drainage study we did last fall for you, you're starting to put pairs of inlets about every block going all the way west to the school up there. The school kind of sits at the high point of the drainage. That's where at the school the drainage goes east or west, and which side you leave the school to go on. And so you're going to see pairs of inlets going up the street all the way up to Chicago there where the school is at. And so you're going to have them at every intersection. You typically put them at every intersection.
Well, I just don't want them to flood out this guy down here on 9th and Union, and I don't think 2 catch basins at that corner is gonna catch the water from on top of that hill and out of that trailer court, and from the east side of the school, 2 catch basins are not gonna stop.
No,
Or catch it.
there'll be catch basins every block. If you look back at the drainage study, the model that was done last winter, it lays out there how often those catch basins would have to be and the size of pipe that we have to get the water to Park Creek going east. Because you're right, you don't want to put in storm sewer, and that's why you did the study of the model to determine how many inlets you need and the size of pipe you need. Just like you would water main or sanitary sewer main. That's why we study and plan for those things, and that's how it's laid out.
Any further comments? Discussion? Not hearing any. Do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the professional service agreement, Houston Engineer, Inc., design of 9th Street from Park Creek to Highland Avenue and Union Avenue north of 9th?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any other comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Commissioner Phil,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Item number 2, provide direction to staff regarding 2021 opening of the MAC. Brad, do you want to bring us up to any speed, anything else, anything new?
Nothing new, Mr. Mayor, other than we met with did meet with the park board last week and just brought them up to speed, but there's nothing new as far as information to bring forth to the commission.
Nothing from Amertz.
Haven't gotten anything from Amert
Okay.
yet.
What about Tim for the,
Haven't gotten anything from him
nothing
yet
from
either.
him? Okay. All right, thank you. Sonia, did you have any?
Yeah, we took a look at what the potential cost, so if the commission were to decide to go forth with a potential opening date for the pool and tell us to go ahead and start hiring, and you cannot get a part or something, you can't complete, your potential unemployment risk runs between 50 and 80,000, possibly more. Is my understanding as of right now, the community center has 17 lifeguards currently on staff and applications for 6 more.
A little more.
A little more than that now, as potential candidates, and 10 applications for cashiers.
Cashiers, yeah, about 10.
But again, we can't offer any, yeah, you're welcome to.
Okay. The longer you wait, the less people you're going to have. Because I've been contacted by many of our people that are asking if it's going to open, and I can't give them an answer. So the longer you wait, they're going to go find other jobs, which already a couple of them have. So that's the only other thing that you run into a problem. So even if you say, yeah, we're going to open, those 10 cashiers that you might have had might be down to 6 now. Or the lifeguards that come and go that get an internship and now are gone. So those are things you got to worry about.
And we need approximately 15 lifeguards a day.
15 just to be on rotation. And that's just one shift, and then the next would be another 15. So you're asking somebody to work a double, which most of them do.
Or you're looking at potentially shorter hours.
Or closing down sections of the pool.
But you have 17 lifeguards on staff right now.
At the community center, yes. Does that mean that they're all going to go to the MAC? No.
What would they be used for up at the community center now? I mean,
Either they might leave and go somewhere else. I don't have a 17 yes. I'm committed to the MAC.
And they teach swim lessons and various events up at the community center.
Okay.
I asked Brad some questions.
Yeah,
Brad,
Brad.
where are we at on the insurance piece of the claim? I mean, are we any bit closer to being able to begin the fixing process of this, or?
I think the insurance company would be okay with us moving forward. They've got their amount that they would pledge towards, and that was in a report that was given to you last week, the amount that they would pledge towards repairs. The cost to replace over and above that would be all borne by the city. That was just for the electrical system. There's a secondary part of this, which is the rest of the damage to all the metal surfaces, to all that other stuff. The reason that this is separated out is there's two different insurance companies. And so the electrical and mechanical part that they're working on right now is for travelers. And then South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance would pick up the rest, which would be the building and contents. So those would be two different companies. So they're trying to get the travelers one done and get that finalized, and then they said they'd go and give us a number for the rest of it. And that coincidentally is the part that we need to get up and running, and so they were trying to help us out by getting that one done first. But they have not put a number to any of the other damage to the building and contents.
In your estimation, what would be our next step?
I think, again, there's two options. The one is to try to move forward. The best guess that they had at the time, this is from an email that I got from Tim from SDPAA, or actually it's from Claims Associates working for SDPAA. Muth Electric thought they could get the panels in something along the lines of 22 days. But, from the time that we give them the go-ahead, 22 days, and put the stuff in place, you're getting out there, and like I said earlier, the soonest that I think that we could get, and part of this depends on the boiler too, which is another piece, that we got prices on it, but whether or not it's available, that's another story. I've not checked into the availability of that yet to see if there's a lead time issue with that, if that's available readily or not. And that, our ground temperature is a little cooler here than in some other places, and so you have to heat the pool at the beginning of the season so you can get good use out of it. And the later we get in the season, probably the less we'd have to use it, but we still probably have to use it the first little bit because the water coming into the pool is going to be around 55, 58 degrees, something like that. So it's going to be relatively cool, and it takes a while for that to warm up. And so depending on when those are all available, there would be a period of time once we got it up and running, normalize the water, heat the water up, and then you could open up. Earlier I'd stated that if we were fortunate and everything went perfect, June 15th. If things didn't go well, it'd probably be July 1st. And that's assuming we can get the stuff. I mean, if there's something that we can't get whatsoever, then that'd be another issue. But
David, are you on there?
Mr. Jenks.
Mr. Jenks?
Yeah.
I'm here.
What about the bidding process for this? Obviously, I'm sure we'll have to go to bid on all this, correct?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think that this constitutes an emergency under South Dakota law.
Okay.
I'd like it to, and I'm sure it feels like one to many of us. But my legal opinion is that we will have to bid this.
Okay. Thank you. How close are we to going to bid?
we don't have plans. We don't have anything
Okay.
for, bidding documents. It's going to take a little while to put that stuff together. We'll probably, at that point, we do have an electrical engineer that did review the stuff. We could push him to get the electrical plans out. There are other parts of it that I'd like to see done just from a safety standpoint. We could get by without those initially, and that's just from the ventilation. We did find after looking at it last, what was that, Friday? That
Yes.
we were up there with Don Amert, and then the mayor and I stood there and looked around. There is a makeup airport, but it's not being utilized. And I don't have anybody to ask right at the moment as to whether or not that's been utilized in the past and how it was used.
Sure.
So there is a makeup airport that would help. It's still not a good system the way it was designed, and I'd like to see it done different, but we could hold off on that for a little while till we go through a full-blown redesign of that chemical room.
Can that be done outside the pool season?
Yes,
The main focus right now is the boiler and the electrical
yes,
And the cleaning up.
and the cleaning of it, obviously.
yes. And depending, the cleaning, depending on what we're doing, we could possibly run without cleaning all the other stuff and come back later and do it, but then you know, there's some of it we have to do now, some of it we could do later. If we got them in there, you might as well do it all at
Might as
once.
well do it right.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, we want to fix it right, there's no doubt about that. Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. I think at this point, I don't know if we really can
Thanks, Brad.
do anything until we know. I mean, I know it's not ideal that we can't put a date to it, I understand that, but if we can't get a boiler and we gotta say we're gonna open and then we all of a sudden can't open, that creates a major problem for us. Can we continue to have this on the agenda every week?
I guess the community center is wanting to know if they should just tell these lifeguards.
How do we tell them when we don't have an answer?
Right.
We don't know about parts.
Right.
I think you just need to, if you choose not to make a decision, you have to understand that when he tells them, I can't give you an answer, they could all have gone and gotten jobs, and you could maybe have the pool open by July 1, probably not likely with the bidding process, you're probably looking out another couple weeks minimum, to more like the middle of July, but you might not have any staff available to work it at that point.
Okay.
I don't know an answer.
Well, like David says, it's not constitutes emergency, so we could forego the bids to try and get it going. I guess we could keep it on and see how we go.
We're at it for a week from now.
Yep.
I would encourage us to push the engineer that did the work and see what we can get done out of that.
I'll bring back a proposal and the timeline next week.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Thanks, Brad.
All right.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
All right. We'll go into under new business, item number 1. Sonia, adopt resolution number 2021-08, canvass the votes of the municipal election.
These are your two packets for each of the ones A through K. The other is L through Z. One has your tally sheet in it. The other one has the ballot, the books in it. You just need to, yep, you need to open them up.
This one's probably sealed.
Yeah, they're sealed. They're supposed to be sealed till you open them.
Okay. Didn't want to overstep bounds here.
You're just essentially verifying the vote counts on them.
What are these? This is,
So this is the poll book.
okay.
That's the tally sheet. So as it goes through, we have two people, one person
Yep.
that counts on the tally sheet, the other person that counts at the back of the poll book. And you get to confirm the numbers.
The A means absentee.
Yes. And then you keep going to the back, which is the tally sheet in the back of here.
Okay.
And that tied to the numbers that,
Okay.
so that's half of L through Z, and this is A through K.
Okay.
after you have a motion to approve the
Okay.
resolution.
Okay. You want these back?
Oh.
I can't see.
No. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2021-08, canvass the votes of the municipal election?
So moved.
Second.
Tanya, you want to take the roll call?
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Wyer.
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Item number 2, Chad, adopt resolution number 2021-09, approve a plat, Lot 1 of Tract A West Center addition.
Thank you. Included in the agenda packet is said plat. It's a final plat. It's in accordance with the preliminary plat approved by the Planning Commission and you. I would recommend approval. It simply plats out the lot that I believe that the church in that area is looking to try to build upon. I'd be happy to stand by for questions.
Do I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2021-09, approve a plat, Lot 1 of Tract A West Center addition?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Jed, I got one question. 9th Street, I know 9th Street doesn't have a sidewalk on it now, but once we get 9th Street done, are we going to put the sidewalk in, or are we going to make the landowner do it at that time?
I would say you can coordinate with Mr. Burwitz and whoever is overseeing their efforts on the scope of the design. If you want to put in the design, sidewalk along that location after curb and gutter is installed, you can, or you can omit it and then try to have that installed subsequently by a landowner via an assessment process.
Okay.
If you
like
want.
we normally do.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
They would not be required to put it in per ordinance
Because no
if they
curb.
would get a building permit before there's curb and gutter installed.
Yep. Okay. Any other comments or discussion? Not hearing any. We got a motion, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Wyer.
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Item number 3, Chad, authorize the mayor to sign the letter of assurance agreement, West Center Baptist Church, West Center Baptist Church addition.
Yes, thank you. Included in the agenda packet is the Planning Commission minutes where this agreement was acknowledged. They don't have approval authority. The agreement is with the city commission, or the city, I should say. These are required per the subdivision regulations, particularly if a lot is being platted, a final plat is being approved before the infrastructure adjacent thereto is being installed. And it basically says that they have to put those in within a time period, or there's avenues the city can take to put them in. That's basically what it says. It's to try to prevent an opportunity where somebody doesn't improve the street as required after a lot's platted, because there's no other mechanism to have the developer, in this case it's a developer, the church is a developer, to put the street in. This is the mechanism we use to do that.
they're putting in their development, they're putting in the Catherine, what I'm calling Catherine.
Yes.
From 9th Street up to their entrance into their parking lot.
Correct.
And then this covers from going north, correct?
Correct. They've provided preliminary plat, which lays out details, and and a final development plan, but then they'll also provide construction plans, and those plans, I've seen those for the church, but then they'll, correlating or corresponding construction plan will be for the street itself. And I do anticipate, once we receive those will show what you just described, the water and the sewer all the way up to the north boundary line of their plat that they just got approved. Water and sewer installed all the way up there, but then the street only installed up until their driveway, just past their driveway. And then per the terms of this agreement, they have a period of time, 3 years from after the filing of the plat, before they have to complete the street. So they're supposed to complete that. And I think they've been working with other developers and such to try to market the property to the north, and we'll ask that they put the street in as part of that arrangement, should they reach a deal, is my understanding.
I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign letter of assurance agreement, West Center Baptist Church, West Center Baptist Church addition.
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Wire.
Aye.
Commissioner Phil,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Thank you, Chad. Item 4, authorize the mayor to sign application Lot Tapias permit to occupy right-of-way outdoor seating South Egan Avenue. Jada, you want to come on up to the table?
Sure, thank you.
This is for a bump out. And
Yes, sir.
And this is for, it's going to be 8 by 20. I did talk to Chief Meyer. He does have some concerns about the driveway with the Madison Daily Leaders parking lot there.
Okay.
I do too. And the only thing we wanted to ask you is there a way we could put a buffer or move this down so we have one parking lot? So we got the driveway coming out, a parking lot,
A parking space.
a parking space, yes?
Sure.
And then put it there. Just so if anybody's coming out, might give a little bit more buffer.
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. I don't believe that would be a problem. I did ask Mr. Biersbach to be here this evening
Okay.
because he's going to design the deck for us
Okay.
and help us position it.
Okay.
Do you believe, based on your viewing of the area, that that would be a problem to move it down a bit?
No, it would go in front of the next business to the north if you moved it down one spot.
If we moved it down one spot, so it would take up just past our door,
It would go past your door, yes.
just past our door.
Have you talked with the restaurant, the Prime Time?
We haven't spoken with Prime Time,
Okay.
no.
I guess that's the only concern I have.
Sure.
I mean, I can see someone coming out of there wanting to go north, and they might want to try and get out before a car's coming and maybe cut that corner short and hit the bump out, would be the only thing. That's why that extra spot would be nice.
Sure. Is there a possibility to shorten the bump out a bit? Our plans are
Well-
to put 2 to 3 tables on there, so potentially we can
We
make it.
don't want to go any shorter than 8
We-
feet. We were talking, we'd rather go 10 feet, but
No, that's 10 feet out.
10 feet out from the curb, yes.
Right.
Yeah, we're talking.
No, we're
talking
talking
20 foot?
length, the 20
Length
foot.
is 20 feet, so if we shorten it to 18, because they're 4-foot sections. So
Right.
if we shorten it to 18, you know, you get a 3-foot by 3-foot table with chairs and that, you're getting awful. I don't know if you can fit 3 tables with chairs in there.
Okay. Okay. So would you prefer that we speak with Prime Time about that? Because they do have all of that parking along the other side of the
Right.
street. Prime Time does.
They are going in front of the business and they are paying, they do pay taxes, so, I guess my feeling is you should, talk to them and then come back to us before. But that's, the other 3 here can override me, so. But I would say make sure you get permission from Prime Time to take a parking spot away from in front of their business and see. So, but it's up to Adam and Jeray and Marshall.
What's your building time frame for when you design and complete and?
It depends on supply availability. We would love to build it, you know, before June 20th. We'd like to get it done by June 20th, but I don't know if we can get supplies.
That sounds like a pool.
Yeah, obviously, it's a summer, fall thing, so we'd want to get it out.
What's the width of their property? How wide is it from that first space to the end of there?
There's 3 spaces in front of Los Tapatios, basically, 3 main spaces, and so I didn't know about the 1 car, so I didn't scope moving it a whole car length down, because it takes up 2 whole spots, but it's diagonal parking versus perpendicular deck, so if you move it down 1 spot, then you start encroaching, and I don't know how much it'll encroach in front of Prime Time, because I didn't measure that. I was just going from the spots in front of Los Tapatios, so that caught me off guard, so I wasn't ready for that one.
Would we need to give the entire parking spot? I'm just trying to see if there's any type of room that we can give, or are you wanting us to leave that entire spot, or just be aware of it and move it a bit?
Chief
That
Meyer's
was your
suggestion
prime concern.
and my suggestion.
Sure.
I guess half would be better than
I would
nothing.
be fine with half.
Be fine with that?
I think that'd be okay.
Because if it only comes out 8 feet,
Right.
that parking spot goes out 18 feet
Okay.
from the curb. So, and there is a yellow area on that corner, so.
There is.
There
There
is
is, yeah.
yellow that
Okay.
goes 6 feet at least before that parking spot starts. So that's why I was assuming you start at the start of that parking spot.
I think you'd be better off going half, because if you
Right.
take a full spot out, they're gonna try and park there, and you're gonna have a worse,
Sure.
you're gonna have more of a
That's a good
blind
point.
spot coming out.
Okay.
I'm just,
Yeah, I think I think half is the right answer.
Okay?
Okay.
You think you can get a half and stay out from prime time?
Can you pull them?
I'd have to remeasure, but
Okay.
I don't think we'd encroach very much on prime
Okay.
time if we take a half a spot.
I guess I would also like you to reach out to your neighbor.
Absolutely.
Just be,
Congenial, not a
Yep.
problem.
Okay.
Absolutely.
so do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign application Los Tapia permit to occupy right-of-way outdoor seating South Egan Avenue?
I'll make that motion with the parameters set.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Silt?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Mayor Danner?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
I
They're
appreciate your
They're a
time.
neat deal, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
Item number 5. Chad, is Jake on too, or? Yep, okay. You can start off. Review and award bid AIP 3-46-0029- 020-2021 construct South GA apron expansion.
Thank you. Included in the agenda packet is a recommendation letter from KLJ regarding the bids that were opened on April 8th. Their recommendation is to award the bids with a contingency if I think the DBE efforts are verified, there doesn't need to be a contingency. If I think Sonia may be our DBE officer at this point in time. Maybe I didn't mean to blindside her if I didn't talk to her about this, but maybe Jake has as well. But to recommend approving the bid for Bose Construction for this project. And I'd just stand by and let Jake speak to this matter as well.
Yeah, good afternoon. So that is correct, Chad. So basically, we got full bids compared to engineer's estimates. So the bids came in good. Per the federal requirements of the FAA grant, we're required to have a DBE goal by the city. This construction met 0.% DBE participation. The goal is 2.1%. There is a mechanism within the rules that as long as they provide good faith efforts and show that they reached out to DBE enterprise businesses and made an effort to include those entities in their bid, that they don't have to meet the goal, and that's considered providing good faith documentation. So we reviewed all of everything on our end, and our opinion is that they did provide good faith efforts for the city's DBE program, but ultimately KLJ does not have authority to make that final determination. Our recommendation is that they did. As long as that is in concurrence with the city, then we'd recommend to approve the award. Just, I guess, for quick information, this isn't uncommon. It's something that happens fairly often, that contracts are awarded with good faith efforts, not meeting DBE goals. It's just a matter of them providing the proper documentation, which we felt was sufficient in this case. So I guess I'll stand by for any other questions if there are any.
And we had this estimated at almost 1.2 million.
1.19.
Correct. So we did get pretty good bids. So the engineer's estimate was at close to 1.2 million, and it came in at 981,000. In addition, since the last time we discussed too, I believe that there's an update that federal funding would be at 100% for this project. So that's also an additional great benefit to the city. So we're currently we're looking like we're gonna come below our initial grant application by a fair amount and have 100% funding. So everything's looking really good.
Okay. Do I have a motion to review and award bid to Bose Construction, Inc. for $981,016.60?
I'll make a motion, we award the bid, and I'm glad that we had 5 bidders on this project. I don't know why they're bidding now so freely, but good to see the work coming back to the people coming back to work.
Second.
Okay. Any comment or discussion?
I may, Mr. Mayor,
Yep.
I did share a timeline of the upcoming steps with you, an updated timeline where you will anticipate having, one item is the next item on the agenda, but then professional service agreements for KLJ's efforts to administer the grant, and then grant applications to FAA, and so on and so forth, but those all are outlined for the next steps for this project.
Okay. Any other comments, discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Phil,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Item number 6, authorize the mayor to sign professional service agreement, TKDA Inc., independent fee estimate for Madison Municipal Airport, construction South GA apron expansion. Chad?
Yes, thank you. Included in the agenda packet is a letter from TKDA and then a copy of KLJ's scope of services. This is a requirement for FAA for services over a certain amount. And TKDA will accomplish this review and to assure that it's reasonable, essentially, before the city enters into the agreement with KLJ, which is anticipated subsequent to a favorable review from TKDA. And I'd be happy to stand by for questions.
Do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign professional service agreement, TKDA Inc., independent fee estimated for the Madison Municipal Airport Construction South GA apron expansion?
So moved. Second.
Chad, one question. This fee is $4,000 for their service. Is
Correct.
that part of the, can we put that in with
It is.
the 100%?
It is eligible, yes.
It's eligible, okay? Any other discussion, comments? Not hearing any. Sonia, take roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Silt?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Item 7, authorize the mayor to sign agreement, Lewis and Clark Rural Water System, Inc., sell a portion of the current water capacity to Clay RWS. Chad?
Yes, thank you. Included in the agenda packet is an agreement with Lewis and Clark to lay out the terms for the city to have a second connection. In this case, the second connection will be near the water plant, treatment plant, about 10 miles away, and it will be sold to Clay Rural Water System. There's a subsequent agreement on the agenda for that. What this agreement does, it's required by the board of directors, by Lewis and Clark, for each member, if they want to, try to have a second connection, and it lays out the terms of any such second connection, the construction quality of the building, the responsibilities that the member, in this case Madison, would have for operating the second connection, and so on and so forth. It's patterned exactly after a agreement that Lewis and Clark had made with T when they had a second connection. So the terms are, they want to stay consistent, I'll just put it that way. They want, with all the members, would they need to do this? So that's what this particular agreement is. Maybe since these two are really related together, if I could take the liberty, Mr. Mayor, to talk about the next one as well, because they go hand in hand. That agreement is indeed to sell some of the excess capacity, or excuse me, the current capacity that the city of Madison has in a limited nature. If I may, I'll just go through a couple of the key terms in there. There's a lot of language. It's a 12-page agreement or so, but I'll try to hit some of the high points. It's a 10-year agreement with option to extend 2 successive times for 10 years each. There's also a clause in there that the city of Madison can terminate at any time with 2 years notice to Clay Rural Water. The Madison is allocated 1 million gallons a day from Lewis and Clark. This agreement is for up to 400,000 gallons a day, and it also indicates that there's a minimum purchase amount of 200,000 gallons a day if they use it or not. Typically that's considered during, it's thought to be a minimum when everybody's operating, but it's a minimum of 200,000 gallons per day. For a frame of context, Madison right now is not connected to Lewis and Clark. However, we get water through the Wheeling, what commonly referred to as the Wheeling Plan through Big Sioux. We use about 173,000 gallons per day from that on a yearly average through the full year. So it gives you a context of what kind of usage we're talking about here. So and the costs that the city of Madison would incur, we get invoices from Lewis and Clark for this agreement. we would in turn simply turn those costs around and invoice Clay Rural Water for those costs. But in addition to that, there would be a surcharge that would be added at 25 cents per 1,000 gallons on top of that for the city, that's a negotiated term as part of this agreement. One of the benefits of having Clay Rural Water taking water at the same time, a particular time where this will benefit is once Madison is actually connected to Lewis and Clark. The more water you take, the lower the effective water rate is. So if Clay Rural Water would be taking, whether it's 200 or 400,000 gallons, that will lower the price per gallon, or in this case, the price per 1,000 gallons that the city of Madison would pay as well. Clay Rural Water would have to install all the infrastructure for the connection point, and those costs would be just not ever seen by Madison. They would be passed along to Clay Rural Water. And those would be, that would happen because of the terms of the Madison, Lewis and Clark agreement. A couple other minor points that I wanted to point out, that during the, I'll call it the implementation phase of this agreement, there may be times, the term starts in October of this year. Clay has an aggressive schedule to try to build this meter house and get it done. Should they not get ready to take water by November 1st or November 15th or something like that, I've coordinated pretty closely with our city attorney that we could waive charging them for water that they have not even taken if they're not even connected. They had asked about that. We have the authority to do that, but the commission also has the authority to waive that. Secondly, they had asked, in the rare occasion where they might take less than 200,000 gallons before the city of Madison is connected, you know, would we still charge them for 200,000 gallons? The city commission has the authority to waive that amount as well. There would, at that point in time, the only costs we are incurring from Lewis and Clark are in turn passed directly to Clay. So there's minimal, there's no loss to the city in that case. I would not recommend waiving that once Madison is connected, because we will not, in that case, we would not receive the benefit of the lower effective rate for that. But I did want to bring out those points. Clay had asked those questions. Clay is also reliant upon other members of Lewis and Clark for similar agreements they're going to enter into to make this work for them. We're one of probably 3 where this scenario will play out, and we're the biggest member. They need this to make this system work. I'm not privy or knowledgeable about their water situation, their needs, their plant condition, and so on, except to know that they are very much, this is a very important thing for them for their future. And in addition to those 3 members, Clay also has a separate agreement with another Lewis and Clark member for wheeling of water, not too different than what we do through our wheeling plan through MCWC and Big Sioux. Just a little bit of an FYI about Clay. They've been very good to work with, very reasonable, very accommodating upon requests with this. I have not been working on an island. I've been working with the utility commissioner, the mayor, Director Lawrence, and our city attorney in discussing these matters with them. So with that, I'd be happy to stand by for questions.
Item number 7, authorize the mayor to sign agreement Lewis and Clark Rural Water System, Inc., sell a portion of the current water capacity to Clay RWS. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Not hearing any. Sonia, you take roll call.
Commissioner Thill,
Aye.
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw, Mayor Denner.
Aye. Item 8, Chad has touched on it, so I will ask for a motion to authorize the mayor to sign agreement, Clay Rural Water System, Incorporated sell a portion of current water capacity to Clay RWS.
So move.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Phil?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Item number 9, Sonia, authorize the mayor to sign application for abatement and/or refund of property tax, number 2021-5.
Last year in October, essentially the sidewalk improvement roll came down from the engineering office with a list of assessments. In the meantime, before it was filed with the court, with the county, the individual came into the city and paid it didn't get caught in the process, so an assessment was put on their taxes, or on their property taxes, and we just need to abate that. It was done in error.
Okay. Do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign application for abatement and/or refund of property tax, number 2021-5?
So move.
Second.
Any comments? Discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Phil?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Item number 10. Chad, consider sidewalk variance appeal 2021 sidewalk improvement project, Lot 7 and west half Lot 8, Block 8, Waddell's Addition, 822 Northwest First Street.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the commission. Included in the agenda packet is a sidewalk variance appeal form, a letter from Tim and Kelly Brown to be attached to the form, a drawing showing some sidewalk sketches and an aerial photo of the alignment selected, and minutes from the sidewalk committee meeting from Friday, April 16th. There are various minimum standards that the city commission has adopted for sidewalk location. Generally, the commission wants us to work with the landowners as far as shifting the sidewalk in the right-of-way in different locations. However, a couple different standards apply. In this case, there's a variance for the 5-foot setback from the back of the curb. That's in coordination with the Public Works Department. We had talked about that for years ago before the commission passed resolution number 2684 to try to keep the sidewalk away from there. For snow removal, if it's rolled up onto there, either it's not cleaned or the Public Works Department gets a fair amount of concerns and calls, maybe not from the current landowner, but ones down the line. And so that was passed. So thereby, when we coordinate with landowners about where they want to put their sidewalk, this comes up from time to time, along with other different variances. In this case, Mr. and Mrs. Brown would like to put their sidewalk curbside next to their property, as shown on the mentioned site plan. This would allow them to retain a tree where they want to have some additional shade for the house in this area, and then for about a 30-foot length, and then they would transition that sidewalk laterally at a compliant rate, I'll say, such that it does meet the 5-foot setback as they continue north on their property. The sidewalk committee did recommend approval of this variance, and then we would, if this is approved, we would adjust the design of the ramp at the corners to provide for ADA accordingly. I think I'm hitting all the points. Both sidewalk liaison, city commission liaison, Commissioner Shaw was at the sidewalk committee meeting, so he heard the discussion from the sidewalk committee, and so was Mayor Dennert as well to hear it. The landowner wasn't there. I had talked with them quite a bit before that, and so they had some conflicts as well. They may call in tonight. I don't know if they're on, but they're not here as far as I can tell as well. So with that, I would be happy to stand by for 4 questions.
Okay, do I have a motion to consider sidewalk variance appeal 2021 sidewalk improvement project, Lot 7 and west half, Lot 8, Block 8, Waddell Addition, 820 Northwest First Street?
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Thill,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Wire.
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Thank you, Chad. Item number 11, approve use of $89,548.42 capital outlay in maintenance reserve fund to supplement community center operating budget.
Good evening.
Well,
basically, I need the commission to approve the use of the $89,548.42 of our capital outlay maintenance reserve funds to supplement our CC operating budget since we are on a shortfall. Questions?
And why are you on a shortfall?
I believe a pandemic might have an issue with that.
Well, that's all over.
We have a big membership base, and we rely on memberships, and our memberships are way down from a year ago.
So what have we done to adjust, Nick?
What have we done to adjust? We froze positions last year. We've written a grant. See, what else have we done? We've basically froze a lot of our equipment and purchases, a lot of expenditures. Anything else you can think of, we've probably thought of. We've tried marketing strategies. We've tried to bring members back. Toughest part is it's not as easy as it sounds when you're trying to bring somebody back and they're not ready to come back and exercise yet.
What's your current member number at?
Let's see, it would be where are we? 15. Roughly probably around 1,100.
Okay.
And that's down, what you
About
estimate?
1,500 is when we were the year before COVID hit.
You were at 1,500?
Yeah.
So about a net loss of 400 members or
Oh,
something?
yeah.
Mr. Mayor, this is Danny. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I raised my hand, but I guess you guys didn't see it, so I was waiting for acknowledgement. But Mr. Mayor, what Nick is talking about, all of last year, beginning in March, we didn't have any after-school programs with revenue coming in. And all of that lost revenue basically from March through even now, as far as operations go, you can't say, well, the pandemic's passed, because it's not. We're still impacted by folks not wanting to come in or not renewing their memberships. So we have actually actively re-engaged with marketing to come up with a marketing plan to reach out to former members to see why they're not coming back and see if we can entice the membership back as far as revenue building and use of the building. The after-school program is actually a very successful program for us. And I think, Sonia, you had talked about that at the committee meeting. But this shortfall all happened in 2020, and we're still feeling the residual effects of that as we attempt to make the course corrections and bring people back to our facility.
Are you guys down on after-school program?
I'd say we'd be about the same average for the after-school program. We've taken on the summer program this year for the first time. Right now, I think they have 40 kids signed up. We're looking for, when we budgeted, planning on it, we were averaging hopefully 70 for the summer.
So this money here is just for operating budget, not gonna do any remodeling or
Nope,
anything like
brings it
that?
over to the operating budget.
What's our plan? Because right now, I have been in contact with Sonia, and we're about $50,000 a month is what we're at. So we move 89,000. What's our plan in after May? I'm just putting it out there. I mean, we got to have some sort of direction.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're trying to figure out. It's what we've been trying to figure out for a year.
And I would refer us back to the operating agreement. We may have to go and take a look and see what the original cooperative agreement says, Adam.
Yep.
I think they do have a section there that talks about shortfall of operating funds.
Yep.
But again, this is something that we're actively working on to bring the revenue back in.
So when the pandemic hit last year, did we take care of our memberships? I mean, did everybody, I know we were shut down, did they get the extra month they're supposed to? Did they get their credits?
Yes, we were closed for 7 weeks. We
Okay.
gave them a month back for any ACH or pay in fulls. When that came down to it, that's a $60,000 net loss in a month when you shut down something like that and give that reimbursement basically to everybody. But the biggest thing is you also had the after-school program, which is a big chunk of our ASP2, and also health assessments, which is personal training. And that's down quite a bit because, once again, not a lot of people want personal training because they're not ready to come back.
I guess I'd like to ask, this $89,000 for the reserve, what type of reserve is that set aside for? Is it set aside for operating, or is it set aside for maintenance, or what?
The way I understood it would be for operating. That reserve was not there when it was basically, Sonia basically said, hey, we have this reserve that we could use for the operating expense.
Currently, that sits in a capital outlay, essentially 69,000 of it sits in a capital outlay reserve, and the other, just under 20,000 of it sits in a maintenance reserve.
Is it legal for us to transfer out of a capital outlay into an operating budget?
Is David on?
David?
Yeah, he's still there.
Hey, David? It's my understanding that the commission can approve that. I just went away.
The only reason I ask, like in the school system side of it, we can only transfer X number of dollars out of capital to our general fund for like heat, utilities, things like that. We can't pay salaries with it.
We're not restricted in that manner.
You're not on this side of
Yeah,
it.
it's my understanding that the commission can
That's
approve to
state
move
law,
that.
and this is, there's nothing in state law that limits you from transferring from reserves to any other fund.
I guess the biggest question is, your 50,000 a month, this is gonna last us 2 months. We need to do something other than just hope.
Well, if anybody has any other better plans, I'd like to hear them, because
Was there anything in the relief packages that you could apply for this?
So in the relief packages from last year, the only thing for cities was related to public safety
Public safety.
and so police and fire. there is the new package, the American Rescue Plan, American Rescue Plan, that has a provision in there for lost revenue. But I don't have any guidance on that yet from the Treasury Department, if that can be used for that. It specifically says for use of government services. I don't have any definition of what classifies it as government services yet. David, can you hear us?
I can now.
There was a question before, is there anything precluding, from a legal standpoint, the commission moving funds from those reserves to the operating budget?
No, I don't believe so. I think you can make that motion and do so.
Sonia, are we still gonna meet with the Ford Commission Board?
Yeah, we need to do that.
I think
I
we're,
think we're scheduled May 5th.
If everybody agreed upon May 5th. Oh, I got your response, so.
We can.
you got my
Then we are
request,
good.
didn't you?
Yeah, so May 5th will work.
Because we'll need to come up with a plan. I don't,
And Nick, I'm not poking at you, it's hard when you have a declining revenue. In our world, I would start cutting staff, unfortunately, and that's not the best thing you gotta do, but I know that your programs depend on those things, so I'm gonna make a motion that we transfer 60% of the $89,548.42 to get you through the rest of the month. That'll give the governing board time to maybe come up with a plan with you, and then maybe come back to us in 2 weeks and say, here's the direction we're gonna try and go. I have no problem working with anybody, I just need to make sure that we answer, our public's gonna start asking questions too, of course, so we need to make sure that we have plans in place that shows the direction we're trying to head and help, and I'd be more than willing, if you need help from me, you just let me know.
I'll second that. Okay, the motion was to approve 60% of the 89,548.42 capital outlay maintenance reserve fund to supplement CC operating budget. Is there any comments or discussion?
I know you have a hefty heat bill coming through as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and we're aware of that, and you obviously, that wasn't budgeted that way, and we get that, but I also want to make sure that we've expended all avenues to look at the, what direction we're going to go.
Yeah, and Mr. Shaw, that heat bill, and also last year we had a 30,000 unexpected fire alarm replacement. It's not something we couldn't say no to.
No, I completely understand though. There are certain things you can't control in life.
Yes.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yep.
I was on the board for 9 years too. I was just curious, is this one where DSU also has to put in a portion as well for the cooperative agreement?
Yes.
Yes, that's a 60/40.
60/40.
So
That's what I thought.
With, we can move in there what's in that capital reserve, and once it hits 0, that's when that 60/40 comes back into place, where the city has to put 460 and the DSU 40.
Thank you.
Any further comments? Not hearing any. Sonia, will you take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Phil?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Is there any public comment? No? Okay. Oh, it went away. Okay. Announcements.
I'll just say good luck to Chad. Thank you for all that you've done for us in the last 16 years. We wish you well in your new endeavors, and it sometimes change is crazy, and sometimes I hope you enjoy it, and we will miss you very much. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Not seeing anything under executive session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Second?
All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you and have a nice evening.